Keep your line. You can start. Okay, I think you can start. Anybody's coming?
There's one person, but she.
We can.
Okay.
So Vijay, you can maybe introduce yourself as best.
Yeah. Okay. So hi everyone. My name is Vijayanand Banharti, and I'm PhD student here in IDC School of Design. I'm working with Professor Amit Joshi. I also work in TCS research, and my area research is in human aspect of cybersecurity, or we also call it visual security. So maybe we can just do a round of introduction. Okay, so who wants to start?
Okay, I'll start. Hi, I am Krishna Ahir. I am a MDes by research student here at IDC, and my mentor is Aniruddha Joshi sir. Also, my area of research is emergent users.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jignesh. I'm a student of communication design, master's MDes second year.
I am Novi. I'm also a MS communication design student. I'm Aniruddha Joshi. I'm faculty. We will start online. Pushpendra, hi, please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Yeah, we are just introducing ourselves. So please go ahead and introduce yourself. Pushpendra.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Nice to see you, sir.
Yeah. Can you introduce yourself? Can you hear us? No?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Just introduce yourself, then we'll go to the next person.
Your voice is a little bit echo, but it's okay.
The voice is not clear?
No, it's not clear. It's a little bit echo, actually.
Okay. So, is it clearer now?
It's fine now.
Okay. Can you just introduce
Perfect.
yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Pushpendra, and I have around 20-year experience in IT and 15-year experience around in UX and UI. And I blessed to got teaching from Mr. Anirudh sir in 2022 batch.
Okay,
And,
lovely. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Moni, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So I have just graduated from Bachelor's of Design in Game Design. I'm considering attending MDes in IIT next year, and I'm also working as a level designer in a gaming startup right now.
Okay, lovely. Ishan? Hello, Ishan. Can't hear us. So, Abhijita.
Hello everyone. I used to work with Tata Digital and OLX Autos before this, and like right now I'm just trying to figure out what my next steps are. So this space looked interesting, so just trying to see what this is about.
Sukriti?
Hi, I'm Sukriti. I'm currently working as a graphic designer.
Okay, lovely. Sanjeev?
Hello everyone, this is Sanjeev. I'm pursuing masters from IDC, from Industrial Design Department.
Thanks. Aditya?
Hello everyone, my name is Aditya and I'm working as a visual designer currently. I'm based in Gurgaon.
Okay, very nice. Niharika? Hi, Niharika.
Hello. I'm a BDes alumnus from IDC. Graduated in 2022. I'm just Yeah, I used to work as a UX designer, and now I'm just figuring out my next steps, and always been trying to attend these and end up not being able to make time for it. But yeah.
Okay, thank you. It'd be great that you're here today.
Yeah.
Then and over to you.
Yeah, thank you for attending this. I hope we will do justice to your time now. So before we jump into, so you guys, I will just give one scenario. So you must have seen this scenario in your life. Create a strong password. And there are some guidelines given, like at least 12 characters long, 12 or 14 more, combination of uppercase, lowercase, number symbols, not a word that can be found in dictionary, or name of person, character, product, or organization, significantly different from your previous password. And then there is one example given. So what is the problem? This is how we create passwords. Agree? All the online guys, you can show hand or so that I know you are also listening, not sleeping.
What is the problem?
What is the problem in this? You must have seen this, right? You created passwords, right? Till now, it's not the first time, right? You must have created almost number of passwords. So whenever we see such type of a password policy, what we do? Hard to remember, because whenever we create something, like example given at the bottom, most of the times it's not one, right? Because we see this as a one, but in real life we have to create almost 30-40 passwords, right? Every website needs a password, and then they say you don't use the same password. So then what to do? What to create is the question now, right? So now this is the second thing. So if you go to Zoom and you write username and password, and then there is a message given. Message is incorrect email or password. So what is the problem? Do you know what is the problem here? Whether the email is incorrect or password is incorrect, right? Right? So they should have clearly told us, right? What is incorrect? But why they have not done this? So there is a reason, right? All these people in Zoom, I'm sure this must have gone through so many reviews, and they're still sticking to this statement. They're not telling you exactly what is the problem, what is not correct, whether it's the email is not correct or password is not correct. Why they are doing this? Anybody from online, can you tell what is the reason? Or what is the possible reason?
Maybe a person impersonating this ID, like taking his ID, won't know which is the correct one. Maybe
Correct. Yes, but see, sometimes they don't deliberately tell you which is correct, whether it's password is correct, because if you look at from the hacker point of view, or the person want to see, just giving the passwords or email IDs are visible to everyone, right? They can just keep trying, they will know this person's account is there in the Zoom. So that's why they don't want to reveal this. That's the reason. So you are understanding there is no how the challenges are coming from the usability point of view. Even because from the security angle, it's very dangerous to tell you exactly what is wrong. That's why they don't tell you what is wrong, whether it's the email is wrong or the password is wrong. Okay, so this is now you realize there is a now challenge coming from usability point of view, but still they are sticking it. And you must have seen such type of messages. Have you received such messages? The tiny URL, congratulations, you.
Yeah.
Or I think recently in IDC, a lot of people must have seen this message from HOD, urgent, right? And if you see what is problem here in this email message? The space, you can see it's a very small space. We don't know exactly email address. They just written the name of the person. So earlier it is to be HOD, IDC, something like that will come. So we'll not know who's this, and you just reply. And there are people who replied. And I know those people because in a small screen, you just tend to take action, right? You are so impatient, you don't want to go and see what is the email and expand and then see whether it's a really IT. Or you can see in this case, there is a mail coming from suppose our security department, IIT, and they say download this software and just install it. They want to check it. We just go ahead, right? We don't see from where this has came. Or if you see on the right hand side, top one, there is a clear URL given royalbank.com, but it's not royalbank.com, it's something different, right? Because there is something else in front of that. We don't see this, we just see it may be correct and we just go ahead. So these are the issues, and that's why there is a dilemma. Whether we should go with security side, like earlier example, we should clearly tell what is the problem. You should not do this, but then the usability point is also coming to picture, like people are not able to understand, or they are not able to make sense of it, right? In case of what is not correct, email is not correct or password is not correct. That is also from the user point, we should tell correctly, what is incorrect information. So there is a dilemma, and with this dilemma, we have to leave it, because what we are doing currently today is, this is the in 4 steps we will cover today's webinar. In first step, we'll look at these human aspects of cybersecurity rather than the technical. Okay, so technical things we are not going to cover. We are just going to cover from the human side. What is the problem from the human side? And then we'll jump to emergent users, and then we will also showcase some of the work done here. And of course, we will have some time for discussion. Okay, so in security, these are the very famous triangle. We call it as CIA triangle: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So what is confidentiality? It's written, like protecting information from unauthorized access. You want to give some data to someone, only that person should see this. That's the way we say that's a confidential information. Availability is what, when you want to have that data. Suppose you want to access something, it should be available at that time. Like ASC portal, when you want to register, it should be available. If it is not available, then there is a problem. You are not able to take action, right? So availability is what, when you want that data to be accessible, it should be accessible. And then integrity means whatever information you are given, that should be the same information, like grades. Suppose somebody has given you grade, sir has given someone grade AA or AB, it should not alter. Nobody should go and say BB, something like that, right? So the integrity should be this. Whatever sir has given, that is the same information you are going to receive it. Now, this is from the technical point of view. How those things translate in real life? This is how WhatsApp do. If you see, WhatsApp says we have end-to-end encryption. What it means, so if you go there, it will show. So you click on that end-to-end encryption, it will show something like verifying, circle will come. And after sign, it will say end-to-end encryption was automatically verified. That's the only message you get. Because otherwise, user has no, how you will verify, no? Whether it's end-to-end encrypted or not. That's why we trust. Or then there is something like compare 60-digit number and we don't know what to do with that number. So such type of information there. If you go to some website, you can see there is in IDC website in the browser. If you click on this 2 small dots, you will see this information that connection is secure. And if you click on this connection is secure, this is how it will show that connection is secure. That means, for example, password, credit card number is private. Means nobody in between can wiretap. Wiretap means they can take that data, and but that is possible. But right now, because it is encrypted, we are not going to see this. But this is how they communicate. All this information is communicated to user like this. The way it's shown on the screen, this is the way people show that this is how information is communicated. So next step in this is one of the important step everybody will do is authentication. In case of your phone or your ASC portal or any place or bank or your Instagram account, you authenticate. Means what you do, basically you say this is my password, and then it will show you tick mark if it is right. And what is authorization? Authorization is what you can do once you are inside. So we'll see one example here. Suppose this is a house, and let's say you want to call water filter service provider to service your water filter. Okay, so what you do, you book a appointment. Then the service person will come to your house. You will knock the door, you open the door, and then you will ask, who are you? Then he will show your ID card or something like you called us. That's why you came here. Then once you authenticate, so this is a step of authentication. You are just checking the guy who is coming to your door is the same guy whom you called from whatever that water filter service provider. Then you allow him inside. So this is authentication business is done. What is authorization? Is where that person can work. Once he is come inside, he will not go to bedroom. He will go to only kitchen where the water filter is. So you're just allowing that person to access only that much area of your house. That is authorization. So once you authenticate users, you just verify before allowing them inside house. And after that, you just decide what access that he or she should have in your house. So this is the way authorization works. Any doubt, you can ask me in between, otherwise we will just go ahead and then you will not understand. So let me, you can interrupt me in between also, especially the online guys. So this is clear, authentication and authorization. So same thing happens if you want to log into a system. So who are you? That is shown by username, password, you put it or you put a fingerprint and then you go inside. And once you are inside, you can do like in case of bank, you can go inside, but you can't see others people's data, right? You are not authorized to see. When you are authenticated, you are not authorized to look at other people's data. So this is the way in digital world this works. So authentication verifies the user before allowing them the access, and the authorization determines what they can do once they are inside. How we see that example with this water filter. Okay, now there are different factors in authentication. You must have heard this, right? So there are three factors. One is something you know, something you have, and something you are. So something you know means what? Passwords or your ATM PIN number. So these are or secret questions. Sometimes there are also secret questions. So these are something you know, it's in your head or in your memory. Something you have is something physically you are carrying. So like your smart card, your ID card, right? When you go to any place, you swipe your card, right? In mess, you swipe the card. So because something you have. And something you are is like your fingerprint, iris, or even facial recognition. So these are the three. Now, what is then two-factor authentication? You must have heard this word. So that is two means you can do combination of these two. Something you know plus something you have. This is what we have in attendance. So you have to put your fingerprint and you have to swipe your card also. So you can't give your card to your friend and seek their attendance letter, right? Because then how you will take your fingerprint. So that's where some two-factor authentication works. In case of Google, we have password plus SMS, like something you know plus something you have. Okay. So this is the quick understanding of. So before we jump, so this is the quick, very high level understanding of security, authentication, authorization, because we are going to work in this area right now. Then something called as usability. I think everybody knows this usability, so I will not spend time here because it's like a way to measure how easy a product to use and how to measure that. So there are various ways, like there are 6 criteria I just mentioned. First, whatever task is given, you are able to complete that task or not. Basically, success failure. Then how long it takes to complete that task? It's like a speed, or you measure in terms of time. And there's the efficiency, like how many errors you do while doing that particular task. So these are the very easy to measure because we can understand, put a timer, we can count how many times it happened, whether the success failure also we know. But how to measure learnability, memorability, and satisfaction is the question now. So learnability is measured basically any new things you develop, you give it to user and let user figure out how to use this. So in the first instance, you will take some time, right? You can see this dot. Lot of time is taken in the first iteration. Maybe second iteration, the time will reduce. So this is how the learnability curve will come down. So after some time, once you become expert, you are able to take very less time. Memorability is also in a similar way, but then we give a gap in between, like a delayed thing. We are going to do that, and then again try to see whether that person remembers that or not. So there is a gap in between. And then satisfaction, generally we use some scale, like a scale, or we can ask feedback, like verbal feedback, or note it down, or take an interview. So like this, we measure the satisfaction. So if you have any questions till now, let me know before we jump to the next section.
Are there any questions online?
Can we measure the experience of
remembering and using password, entire experience.
How means experience is like it's not like it should be it's a qualitative thing, right? It's not like so that then you can always take that interview and figure out what is the experience, right? But you can whatever quantifiable things you can always go and measure. But all this that's why I say satisfaction. It's not there's no or you can use some scale. That's the another variant. So that's what we do here also. But now whatever we are going to do, we are going to do from the this usability and security point of view. Usable security is there, so that's why we are going to take those things in this context. Okay, so now we jump to the second section, which is emergent users. So emergent users basically is like a growing group which is beginning to get some like beginning to use the technology like mobile devices, smartphones or laptops or any other devices. They are just beginning, so they are not like expert, like we in and out, they are not doing day in, day out, same thing. So these are called emergent users, and all the slides basically from Professor Anil Joshi. I'm just copying here, and I'm going to explain what are the issues with emergent users and how we can do work in this area. So if you see, this is the population curve of India, which is from 1990 to 2024, and there are some projections happening. So if you see, there is a very high rise in mobile phone started from around 2004 onwards. So the population is growing, but there is sudden jump in mobile phone usage. Landlines, you can see it was rising till 2004 and then it started diminishing or coming down. Then these are the internet users. So internet users also you can see very steeply increasing. So a lot of people, almost if you see by 2024, almost 60% of people have access to internet, at least in as per this graph. And of course, the smartphone is like rocketed. And why this is fetching, because many times people use two phones. Like that's the number coming from there. That doesn't mean that each and every person in India has smartphone. It's just telling how the smartphone is rising. And if you see the education level, almost 16% people are graduated or graduate above till 2014. Okay. And then you can see there are 12%. Like this is now coming down. The graduates quantity is very less, just 16%. But if you see diploma or HSC people have done, it is 12. So 12 plus 16, like it's like this we can count this. Then up to metric, middle school, primary school, and these are the illiterate people. So just 10% is the so now if you see all these people are in India at least are non-English literate, right? And all our devices, mobiles are having English as a we currently by default. Now we have the Hindi, Marathi, all those things, but most of the time this is how. And there are some illiterate people. So we have such a big population to cater to, right? Where we need to design something or we need to use some way so that those people can also start using. Otherwise, if you are seeing most of the times, if you go to ATM, still people will come and say that they will give you a card and ask you to drop the money, right? Because they can't comfortable with that interface, even though there are options to go in Hindi, still or in local language. So there is a issue. So people are so these are the emergent users. They are not able to use that technology as we use. Now, what is the problem with this? So if you see the cybercrime cost is increasing. So more than $1 trillion damages are happening annually. This is an old stat, but now it must be more. It's a worldwide stat we are giving. There is 82% cyber attacks are due to human errors because users are not able to use the technology properly. And last is people mindset. So if you see, only 10% people have actually enabled two-factor authentication in Google. This is the data from that Google 2018. Somebody has studied that. So even though there is an option to enable two-factor authentication, only 10% people have enabled this. Again, whenever people ask to update their phone or their device, only 44% people updated their device. Others still they don't take this that seriously. We'll do it later, something like that. So this is the mindset problem also. So what we observe is people impact security outcome much more than any technology, policy, or process. So, and what is the problem right now is we are moving towards this digital is default, right? Everything we want in digital. Yeah. So whenever we go into this digital is default, there are abstract things are happening. So you click, what happens behind the screen is not that intuitive, right? Most of the people will not understand. How I give an example of encryption in WhatsApp. End-to-end encryption means what? You are going to just see a screen where it will just go round and round and then it will show a lock screen and that's it. Is it really encrypted? We, as a user, we have to trust, and that's the way we go ahead. So, and plus in case of emergent users or in case of Indian context, we have varied economic, educational background, cultural background, and plus we have a lot of means people are not able to afford those devices easily, right? So we generally use second-hand, third-hand device, and that's the way people use it. And most of the people do not use the solution correctly. So even they tell you to create a strong password, you will create 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it strong? It's not strong, but you will do that because there is another issue which we'll discuss later. Like you have to remember that also, right? And security and privacy are very dynamic concepts. Why I'm saying this is, if you see 10 years back, the issues are what issues we had. Those issues are now much more after COVID. It has gone up drastically, right? Because earlier we are not used to have this online classes, but suddenly as soon as you go into online classes mode, a lot of things change, right? People got exposed to this digital revolution, and the security and privacy issues also started coming. So you must have seen that earlier people used to pick any call, but now we are hesitant to pick unknown call. Why? Because we don't know what is that caller is going to ask, especially if there is a video call happening on WhatsApp. People don't tend to pick that unknown caller, but earlier we used to do that. We used to think maybe somebody is trying to contact us, but we don't know. That's how this is changing. So this is evolving over time, and that's why, yeah.
Sometimes you also get this message from a company or WhatsApp and we will just call you, you receive the call and it's very part of authentication, receiving a call.
Yeah, so they also ask you to whether you want to verify. So in case of OTP, they will send you OTP on the mobile. But in case sometimes if you are not comfortable with OTP, they will call you back. That is also one way of, that is a two-factor authentication part. That's what I understood. If your question is from that angle. Okay, now what needs to be done? So we need to plan this layer of defense. Like it's not just one, like you can't put just one big lock and go. So you need to highlight in case of house, there is a main door and you can put the locks inside doors also. Like in your tijori, or you also lock, right? Main door pe bada tala lagaya, so that doesn't mean you are not going to lock your tijori. You are going to still lock it, right? So there is a layer of defense you have done. So similarly, you have to do this in digital world also. You have to do this layer of defense so that you can minimize this day-to-day risks arising. So why we are looking at this? Because if you see, almost 67% of world population has access to internet now. So if we say around 8 billion people are there, so around 5.5 billion people have access to internet. And out of that, if you see, almost 3 billion people are staying in Asian region or Asia. So we have a huge opportunity to contribute, come up with usable security solutions which will help user. And why we need to do that? Because digital is default now. So people by default they go with the digital thing. And a lot of security and privacy measures depends on how you actually use it. And now there are issues. People are not able to use it, so we need to fix it. So there is the issue because sometimes whatever design people have done, that may not be tested with the user. The developer or the designers thought this is not the designer but the software designers. They think let's create a manual and let's go ahead. Nobody reads manual, right? Nowadays, nobody will touch the manual. So there is an opportunity to contribute. And here we will now jump into the what work we have started doing here. Okay, so if you have any questions till this point, anything related to security or usability or emergent users, you can ask now. So I hope online guys.
Questions online?
Is it clear or I'm going too fast?
It is mostly clear. I had one question. I'm not sure how related it is, but I'm not entirely convinced that that the security depends entirely on how an emergent user uses it. Like the data where it is saved and how secure the data is where it is saved. Like, isn't that a large component also? Because I mean, you hear in the news all the times of all of these data leaks and large.
Yeah, no, I agree. That is definitely that needs to be taken care. So technically, that solution should be sound. We are not debating on that part. So if that is not sound, then it's gone. It's like it's like a bigger problem. But I'm just saying, even everything is sound. What is the problem from the user perspective? That's what I'm saying. So what you are saying is perfectly right. The whatever data is stored, that should be properly secured. It should be behind the whatever that firewalls and everything, and no authorized access. But still there are issues, right? So we hear this that LinkedIn has lost some millions of records. So there are issues, technical side issues are there. I'm not saying that is not there, but if that is still taken care, there are user side or human side issues needs to be also looked at. That's the whole point.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Okay, so we'll now jump into this third part where we are going to show what work we have done here in IDC as well as the thesis research. So whatever work we have done in usable security, basically we try to address this wide range of users, and then we are trying to see some task in that given context. We try to figure out, and we measure design around this and evaluate around this whether people are able to easy to use. We are not talking about whether the entire system is working fine or not. Like how she said, we are not going to say if the data at the background is safe or not. That is taken care. That's what we are assuming. We are just looking from the user point of view right now, whether it is easy to use. So this is how we, whatever designs we are going to see in the next slide, it is from this point of view that for that particular task, in that particular context, whether that particular uh, task is user is able to do it properly, easy way, whether he is able to do it in an easy way. Okay, so these are the three categories in which we have developed solutions, or this in this category this solution falls. First is addressing usability issues in the existing system. So we have some system, right? We have some designs already. So what are the issues with that? So this is in that category, there are some solutions, or we try to analyze that particular category. Another category is, can we propose something totally new solution, which is usable as well as secure. So this is a second type of category. And third type of category is awareness and about cyber security. So this is the third. So we'll now look at all these things one by one. So we'll now look at this addressing usability issues within existing system. So existing system is whatever, like we have password mechanism, we have pin, ATM pins, we have already something like email attachment. So a lot of things are already available. We are not coming up with a new system of email. Whatever is right now, what are the issues with that, and can we address from the usability point of view? This is the idea of this particular three type of work what we have done. So we'll now jump into this particular. This is the work done in 2018, published basically, that is called as enhancing interface for pattern log. So So what are the Android lock systems? So you see in Android, these are the different ways you can lock your Android phone. Swipe. So there's nothing, just swipe and it will just open. Then there is a pattern, what we are going to see. Then there is a PIN, then password, then there is a facial recognition and fingerprint recognition. So what most of the time people use this. Now this is a little bit older in 2018, this television, but people are comfortable of using pattern. And what are the issues with the pattern? So somebody has, if you have created a pattern, so these are the rules you should follow. So you should at least 4 dot must be chosen, and it's not written. So I am just telling you because no interface will tell you this. And I will show you the video. No dot can be used twice. Only straight lines are allowed, and do not jump over the dots not visited before. So I will show you how this is currently working in my Samsung phone. So if you see this, so see, do you see there is nothing, no instruction is given. I am just drawing, and that's it. This is the only screen. And this I recorded yesterday afternoon. This is the latest phone having whatever Android 15, 14, whatever that is. And this is how they are currently. So there is no instruction given to the user. What are the rules basically? And the user has to figure out themselves.
So these instructions have been found like from the given devices, or you have come up with the instructions?
No, this is not there. So this is how you see the screen right now. So now as a user, it's up to you now how you figure out. Right? Somebody has told you, right? You can create L or you create M, right?
But that rule 1 to 4
that is actually written. That's the way they have designed. So they are not communicating. I'm just saying. That's the way this particular interface is designed. But nowhere it is written. And this is right now in latest phone also, this is how it is working. So now problem is when you are connecting, you don't know which dots we can connect next. Means you can just go with your intuitive things. So what we have done here is, so these are the generally people draw such type of simple patterns L, M, L. So what we have done is whenever you connect, as soon as you touch one dot, you can see other dot become a circle is drawn around that dot. That means those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots are reachable from that point of view, green point of view. Once you connect the next dot, so it's a simple idea. What is the idea? You just highlight reachability from that particular point, which is not there in earlier. You saw that earlier, right? It was like a plane. Now this is a very simple, you can say intervention we have superimposed on the existing. So that's why we have not done anything new. So as soon as you connect, now you can see the different dots becomes highlighted. So like this, you go on connecting. So as a user, you get a feedback. Now, as soon as I connect, I know this only I can go up to these points based on those 4 rules. So those rules I don't have to remember. My system is going to do it for you through this mechanism where it's getting highlighted and it's also shown what dots you already connected and what dots you cannot connect. So what is reachable, what is not reachable. You understood? So basically, these are just highlighting. So we have not done anything new. Whatever 3 by 3 grid was there, on that grid we just superimpose this thing. Any questions?
So this mechanism will help the users
Yes.
like us to like.
So do you think because as soon as you come, you touch dot, now you can see what is where you can reach.
No, after let's say I've set this password using these 4 rules, so the possibility is like it will be more secured.
No, that is the question. So now मैंने दिखने के लिए अच्छा है, everything nice, but whether it is helping or not, and that's the what we do the study in our lab. What we do is just because it looks intuitive, very nice, user should feel that, and also it should be secure enough. It should, if you degrade security, then nobody is going to recommend that. People will feel that it's not good, even though it's very usable. So now, how to study that? That's the next question. So what we have done is we have created actual Android app where we ask user to draw some patterns. Now in lab study, we have limited time, right? We can't do it for a year, right? So what we do is we ask user to draw some pattern. Suppose this is the case, like we just say that you lock this particular device using this pattern. Then we ask you to do some distraction task, or we ask user to come after 3-4 days if you want to recall after longer time. And then again the user needs to draw the pattern. So this is the way we do. So in this study, what we have done, we have introduced something called as a distraction in between. So you draw the pattern, and after drawing the pattern, you are distracted so that you forget what you have drawn, and you just try to see whether you are able to recall that after some time. But this is immediate recall we are doing. But sometimes you can do a delayed recall. So we'll see this in the study. You will see all those things happening in another cases. Then we measure. Basically, what we have done is now people will always ask, right, whether it is better than existing. So existing is the control condition, means the 3x3, which is currently having in my phone, or I think most of the phone, and whatever this enhanced version is the experimental condition. And we try to see what happens with this condition and what happens with this another experimental condition. Then we compare and see whether that is, at least it should do what is with the existing one, right? If it is degrading, then that's not a use. You are with me? Online guys?
Just one question before moving forward. Like, why always a 3x3 grid? Why not 4x4,
Yes,
5x5?
we can do that. And we will show you. There are mechanisms where people have tried 4x4 also. There are issues. So in our lab here, we have created something called as pass spaces. We'll show in the study, maybe your doubts will be clear. You can ask me the question again, but it's there.
Literature has done that, right? People have
Yes,
done.
yeah, people have done 4x4.
And how have they evaluated?
That I don't know. But there are people trying that with 4x4 dots.
So is there, does it lead to complex?
Yeah, complex.
I mean, so people.
Recalling is a polygon. Recalling is a polygon.
How do they, that's the question.
Exactly.
How do they evaluate?
They create very complicated pattern. They should also remember those patterns. That's the problem. Like we can create a very complicated password, and if you don't remember, then what is the use? That's the problem. So now how to help user? That's the question. That's what we should come forward and help user to remember those things. So in case of drawing patterns, we tried with this highlighting mechanism. Okay. So now you can see here also we measured recall attempts and also creation time. You can see the creation time is little bit more for the new, the whatever we have enhanced one compared to the existing one without highlighting. Recall wise also, so basically it's a new system, right? That's why once you get used to it, as you saw that learning curve will come down, then it will. But this study is done immediately. In the study, you draw a pattern, you do a distraction time, and again recall. So very less time, in 10 or 15 minutes, you finish the study. But in real life, once you start using your almost people unlock the phone 60 to 70 times in a day. So you have to draw so many times. That's when it gets into your muscle memory after some time. So that study we have not done. This is just like an immediate thing. And it also showed that success recall attempts are almost same to the existing. So in existing thing, 98% people able to recall, and in enhanced 98, around the same number. There's no difference. So, and plus whatever patterns we have drawn using this particular highlighting one is much 5 times more guessing resistance. So what in this case, we actually, because lack of time, I am not explaining all the study. So what we do is, because this phone is a personal phone, right? So I'm going to leave it and go outside. So when somebody picks up, he has some almost 3 or 5 tries. After that, there is a 1 hour delay introduced by the phone. You must have seen, right? People, as soon as they do incorrect things, there is a delay. So how much time you have to guess anybody's password? Here I go to washroom or somewhere. You have just 5 tries. So what we did, which is not covered in this study, is we also asked you to guess my patterns. So like this also, then we realize that whatever patterns we have drawn using our highlighting mechanism is more guess resistance, and that's why it's like 5 times more guess resistance. That's the. So as you asked me, security. So it should be secure. So if that is going below secure, then people are not going to use it. It should be minimum उतना तो होना चाहिए जितना existing था. उसके ऊपर गया तो और भी अच्छा है, but it should not go down. Then the security people will, as you saw in the cartoon, stare at the sun logging. So like this. So they will not allow you to go through this system. Okay, so now we'll jump to the next. Unless you have any questions on this, it's a 3x3 study. Now there is something called, now what we do is, in this case, we put 3 by 3, we draw something. So there is one paper last year we published that is called graphical passwords for emergent users. And in this we have done this a 4-day recall. See, earlier study it was immediate recall. We did the instructions that when the question is what will happen after 4 days, whether they are able to recall. This is exactly. So how this is how we start, we question ourselves or kya better, what we can do better, what are the issues with the existing, and then we have this, let's do it a 4-day recall. Let's see after 4 days people are able to recall. But this was a different study, not the exact the same 3 by 3 grid wala study. So in this study, so these are the currently existing options. You either type password or you put pin, right? In phones also we have this, or this 3 by 3 grid everything. So what we explored here is graphical passwords. Means instead of using this pin or thing, can you use some graphical things? So graphical means either you can draw on the screen or you can see those images. So we are going to follow this image wala route. So this is very means this was the 2000 study called as past faces. Okay, so in this study, people need to remember or recognize those faces when they come back to that particular to unlock that. Okay, so now you can see these faces for us very unknown, right? Who are these people? We don't even remember, right? Means unless those people are very famous, just normal people, we will not able to remember. So in our study, what we have done is there is an existing pin mechanism which people use in their phone. Unknown faces is similar to the past faces, which is unknown people. Like earlier case in 2000 study also done with the unknown faces. So here also we use the unknown faces, and the third we have introduced something called as celebrity faces, or people who are very popular in at least Indian context. We use this because this study was done with the emergent users who are not that tech savvy. Okay, so these are the 3 conditions we tested: pin, past faces with unknown faces, and celebrities. Okay, so I will come to this later. Okay. So can you now what we have done is, instead of remembering this 6-digit number, you remember faces. So you select one face, go to next, you select another face, then select. So this is the unknown faces. Just try to remember those faces. And this is the celebrity faces. Which one you think is easy to remember? Celebrity from our context. But if I show these celebrities to people in US, it becomes unknown, right?
So, in the first slide, there's Amitabh Bachchan picture, right?
Yes.
If that is my first past face, so I remember Amitabh Bachchan face.
Correct.
When I come the second time, do you change the other faces and keep Amitabh Bachchan in front of?
Correct. So I have to keep Amitabh Bachchan in that. Of course.
But
Other faces I can randomize.
Actually.
And even I can change the position also.
What will happen if you change? What will happen if you change? There are 2 things, 2 different things. Change the position is different, and change the face is different. Now, if you change other faces, what can happen?
It will be a very new first recall activity will be very,
Okay, so usability might get hampered. Will security get hampered? No? Will security improve or will it go back? Why will it improve?
You are going to keep one face constant, and rest you are changing.
Even if you keep changing Amitabh Bachchan face ka position,
The position is different. You are just changing faces. Other faces. Say instead of Narendra Modi, you will put someone else.
I guess.
So you keep one constant, Amitabh Bachchan constant, बाकी सब change करो.
Then what will happen?
My guess is if I come to that slide for the second time, third time, I'll keep looking for Amitabh Bachchan ka face.
No, as a user, as an attacker.
Okay, but as a hacker, what will happen? It will get worse. Because the hacker will see it once, then he'll come back after some time, see again. So after you come like this and do this 3-4 times, 5-6 times, then you know only Amitabh Bachchan's face is not.
constant.
Correct.
Then you pick Amitabh Bachchan. You go to the second one. again same thing happens. Then after you have done this enough times,
Even this randomization also requires internet or.
internet is required. We can use or not use internet. It's- Internet is not a problem anymore.
That's not a problem, but let's say if it is often, because pin is like without lock, I mean, without internet also I can lock my pin.
It's correct. So you should be able to unlock it without the internet. But yeah, I mean, internet is so you could download and keep. It's not very heavy. Not like it's less than 10 seconds of YouTube video as well. Right? So,
Yeah.
so it's not very heavy. But whether we should, but there could be some other things that internet could enable, then you can use it. Say, for example, you do a video call or something like that. So only remotely you can unlock it. Or phone, whether what to do with the password is up to you, whether to unlock or do something.
But you got that, right?
Yeah.
Because after some tries, people will.
No question.
Okay. So what happened? Press button or they can ask?
They can just ask. Just please go ahead. Pushpendra and Adi, Jita.
Yeah, actually, I have one concern. If, we can forget the pattern when we selecting the picture. What is the, what we selecting the first and second and third? It can't, people recall quickly. They can recall the faces, but can't recall the sequence.
Yeah, so in the study, we actually try to study this part only, what they are able to recall sequence with faces or not. So yeah, so that is one of the findings. So people are able to remember, but sometimes there are issues, right? Because you can say in the study environment, we are just talking about one study. But as soon as you go with 25 such studies, like if you have 25 passwords, similarly you have to remember 25 faces sequence. What will this is a research question.
Initially, people are very consciously, they are remembering, but number can be number if any screen is opening, the black screen or white screen. Does not matter what screen we are coming. Selecting over the smartphone. But when we are selecting the faces, it can be changed the whole usability aspect when screen are changing and face are don't have that much light, right? Darker people and lighter people can be changed when we are using the background. So it's really hard to when we are changing a day and night mode. It can be have a problem when we are selecting the faces.
So all those things we can means put and study that by making everything constant, change only some part. So like this, we can keep enhancing. So as you said, in case of numbers are stationary because there's only one, means 0 to 9 numbers are displayed. But in this case, what is happening is the screen gets refreshed with the next type of faces, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And a
So,
second thing, yeah. I'm sorry, please continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
And a second thing, when we are selecting the faces, it can be happen when someone having a issue of that much not clear vision. Then similar faces can be the problem to quickly when they are in a hurry can be a problem to selecting the same faces. Like let me tell you an example of the front screen. If two people having a same kind of hairstyle, having a same kind of little bit similar faces. Okay. And they are very quickly are moving around and they are using the single hand. So it could be problem to selecting a correct faces in a sequence.
Yeah. So
in the light aspect and
yeah, so what I feel is all these are valid questions and we should test it out with users and come up with the optimized solution because this is not the final solution, right? We need to keep iterating. So in this case also, in first study, we have not shuffled the faces. So even people used to then go with the position. So if you see Amitabh Bachchan appearing on the this particular left hand bottom corner screen, that Amitabh Bachchan used to be there only. So people used to go with the position rather than going with the face. So then in the next study, what we did, we shuffled that so that people should remember the face, not the position. Like corner position, tuck, 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 5 times, 6 times you do and just go inside. That should not happen, correct. So So those type of things we did implement in the next study, and then we also compared this and tried to see whether there is a problem or not.
And one more thing, why people will choose the celebrity, they can choose the family picture too. They can set
Yes.
the pattern from the family picture.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. That is what the current study we are doing. So this is the third study what we are doing, but I don't have the slides for that. But exactly this is what we are doing, where we are trying to personalize this part.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious. So, like in the image set, right? Like, for example, the Amitabh Bachchan picture again. The next time or the second, third time when the picture shows up, do we like is the focus on the person, the character, or the complete image? Because right now in the sequence, say we know that okay, at first it's somebody in a orange shirt, then somebody in a green sari, then the third image is somebody with a gray background. So do we want people to learn those things as the identification, or okay, this is the character that I'm focusing on, so will the next time will it be a different picture of that person, and like will the colors change? So that is, I don't know, I was just curious about that.
That we have not tried. We have not tried that part. We are saying that Amitabh Bachchan right now showing with white shirt. Maybe
Right.
Amitabh Bachchan will come with green shirt, right?
Green shirt without glasses, or like yeah, just
Yeah.
change the color and like the face.
Yeah.
So that's also a good future.
Correct.
Hence this webinar. That there are hundreds, this particular area, with just this particular one visibility, one security mechanism. This one particular security mechanism has some 20 potential research projects.
Yes.
So that is the one of them that we have not yet done. And there are many others that we have not done. We have done very few of them. Maybe only 2 or 3 of them. we have
Yeah,
done.
2 or 3 only. And plus, we are.
Yes, so that's why we need more students to come and learn.
And that's why we have this webinar.
So I think with why we are choosing the faces, we can choose the animal pictures, we can choose the flowers.
Yes.
Can
Yeah. So all these are options.
Can we
And in fact,
pattern
lot of such experimentation has been done. Have you talked about the password space and so on?
No.
So maybe when you can explain the results.
Yeah, so we'll just go ahead.
I think there was somewhere the list of all the variables that were then potentially tested. It's like list I don't know. I think it's in Zuas.
So here it is.
No, this is what we are doing now.
Huh.
But potential list of variables there is somewhere in either in Zuas or.
So we just say that these are the control variable, grid size, password length.
These are like grid can change the grid size, can change the password length. We can change the purpose of photos, like changing animals or whatever, or we can actually change the photos themselves, but not change the people. Like we'll have 100 photos of Narendra Modi, we'll have 100 photos of Amitabh Bachchan, and so we'll randomly pick up. Bachpan ka photo bhi dalenge. I don't know if you So whether this will work, or what should be allowed, what should not be allowed, what is a good solution? Potential, right? Grid size, because so we can say on a phone like this, how many pictures can we put?
It should be recognizable.
Like if you just go back to the original past faces, no? Like pehle wala, just 2004 ka jo tha. There were only 9 photos. At that time, screens were smaller and they were not so high resolution or high quality and so on. We have done a lot of experiments with 4x4, 16. But if you have to compare with an alphanumeric password, what is the, like each, let's say it says should have a 6-digit password at least, right? Okay, then each position can take how many places? Like how many options can you have in each spot of a 6-digit password?
For alphanumeric? So each character would have 10. So that's 10 possibilities.
Why 10?
No, in one position. In one position, alphanumerics, alpha and numeric.
Alphabetic.
Alphanumeric. Oh, wait. Numeric. Okay, all right. My bad. 26 plus 10. 36.
In one.
Yeah.
No, 26 capital. 26.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Symbols, numbers.
Yeah.
All sorts of things.
So that to the power 6.
ASCII basically. So 256 per ja sakte hain. ASCII is
Okay,
21.
whole ASCII space, yeah.
So some ASCII is not, I think some characters may not be allowed, but maybe at least 200 odd characters will be there, right? So can we have a grid of 200?
Like not just past spaces, but like how's old items mix and match.
Okay, so that's a different question. That is what I'm talking about. Just go to that your list of password. That is your corpus of photos, right? We're just talking about grid size. Okay. So grid size, how big the grid size needs to be?
Based on phone size, because
So but I can scroll,
Yeah.
I can zoom. There's so many possibilities, right? We can see thousands of photographs on phone. So that's a question. We don't know the answer to this question.
Correct. And that's why there is a dilemma. Like,
Now imagine in that if you actually I don't know if you can see this online, but on phones you can make this shortcuts, right? For dialing. Okay. Now you can just make out. I'll just try to take this nearer. This.
Yeah.
I don't know if people online can see. But there are like first three are just photographs, right? And then there is the fourth one is a collection of photographs. It's like a folder with multiple photos inside it and so on, grouped. Okay. Now imagine grouping like this in each cell. Each cell, let's say, has 9 photos, and like that there are 16. So 16 nines are whatever it comes to 144 possible photos could be there on one. So grid size could be 144 potentially, right? We can do this. Only thing is that then your shuffle will go for a toss because if you are searching among 144 to numbers.
And plus, you have to do 60 times in a day. So you have to unlock, suppose you unlock 60 times in a day. So you think from that point of view,
No, actually, okay. I'm sorry, that is a variable. How frequently do you use it?
Exactly.
Is a variable.
Which we can.
If you use it once in a year, it's actually much harder.
Yes.
Than 60 times in a day.
Because then it goes into muscle memory once you start.
Correct. So these are all.
So question about the 60 times a day thingy. So now that most of the phones are moving towards biometric unlock options.
So he had that answer.
Yeah, sorry, I showed up late.
So it was. So that is who you are password. Biometric. Okay. Do you have anybody has a device which is locked purely by biometric? Purely by biometric. Anybody online has pure biometric locking?
That is not the case, but also I
tend you always have a fallback of what you know.
Yeah. That is only like backup, right? Like when my hands are wet, my thumb.
It's convenient to do 60 times a day. So correct.
Yeah.
But once in a while it will ask you.
Right. So
just or if it is dirty, it will ask. But once in a while it's just to keep you so that you remember it. So if at all. If the device is not used for a long time, then you should be able to then recall it at another time or whatever it is. Right. So what you know, so far we have talked about this. Like every time people say this,
yeah, of course.
There is no getting away from what you know password so far.
Right.
They add factor like what you know plus something, but generally they keep what you know.
No, who has a device? You can leave your device unprotected or protected only by who you are passwords.
Right.
Face ID, fingerprint, voice, whatever. Hundreds of different possibilities are there. But everybody uses what you know password as a main mechanism, and who you are password mechanism could be a fallback.
Right.
For phones, for devices. Again, so application is another area.
Yeah.
Where do you apply the security mechanism is another area. And actually, this has also not been sufficient. As far as I know, maybe Vijay knows better. But as far as I know, there is no real research on whether your banking password should be really strong or whether your day-to-day use computer password should be really strong. Or
the problem with strong word is, as I said, people don't know what is strong.
But knowing that people don't know what is strong, even then, what is strong?
So no problem is. ICICI Bank says that it's your responsibility to create a strong password. ICICI Bank बोलेगा कि कुछ हुआ तो we are not responsible.
Yeah.
So it's like they are just passed their all the things to you.
Since we are recording on YouTube, they're just saying ICICI Bank as an example.
Example, yes, yes. Don't sue me. I
No,
say
no, through TCS, no problem. Don't sue IIT Bombay.
right now I'm a student of IIT Bombay. In that capacity I'm talking. I'm not in talking capacity of TCS. So
Right, right. No, no. So responsibility is another, but application, right? For which application? Let's say you have just some OTT platform account. उसके लिए क्या फर्क पड़ता है? What suppose somebody watches another film on your behalf? It's okay. It's not going to make big difference. Or even there are even lower, like your tiny URL, something like maybe tiny URL is important. You have some, but even then, maybe those URLs you do tiny URL because you want to make it public very often. So all that information is public anyway. So there is not a lot to protect there. Basically. Risk.
risk exactly means what you are protecting. Like in case of bank versus in case of your Instagram password, which one you will be more careful because you have some risk, right, somewhere of losing something.
My argument is people tend to use the same password everywhere. So
Exactly.
every password is important.
Yes, but now that's the problem because people have some limited capacity to remember.
Yeah.
Then people started talking about use password managers. But like using password managers, like keeping all the eggs in one basket. If something happens with the password manager, everything is gone. So I'm just saying there are pros and cons, and you need to take the aware decision, like conscious decision, where you want to do. And as a designers, we always give some help, right? But ultimately, user also need to figure out what he or she thinks is important. Because people always say, nowadays people say, "Ki my account was hacked and don't, I have not posted this." I don't know if they deliberately do it or someone really hacks. But as soon as they realize that whatever they posted is creating trouble, they always say, "Ki somebody else hacked into my account and they posted this account. I never used to think, I never used to say these things." This happens most of the time. Twitter happens, like all the celebrity will come and say, no, somebody else has hacked my things. Sometimes they use both ways. Right? It happens also, and sometimes they just use that as a screen to hide behind. So I'm saying that these are practical issues. It's not like we have all the, and that's why this research is still going on.
Right. I'm going to go back to my biometric question. So that's because you made the argument that people are going to do this 70 times a day, so it should be easy to remember. But then again, how many percentage of emergent users do use biometric versus
that data
is what I was interested in.
So that
How
gets
many emergent users what?
use biometric.
On a regular basis.
Well, actually, they just like strong is not very clear to define. Emergent users also not very clear to define. But I would say about, so if you say how many emergent users are using lockable digital devices in the first place, like by that, at least a smartphone.
Right.
So there is that trend changed about, I would say about 4 or 5 years. Depending, if you say somebody who's like 10 years of education on this, you have that graph, right? You can just go back. That is where there's a relevant. So, yeah, it has to be. You look at your screen, if you look at that screen, it will never happen. If you have, so if you more. Now that I'll just show it full screen now. I can't read it. Just make it full screen. And then go
Even I can't read it.
Just go ahead, few screens. Education data on the education data. So let's say if you say 10th standard educated, right? So people who are 10th standard educated, so the number of smartphones cross the number of people who are 10th standard educated approximately sometime in 2016 or 17. Okay, this is all approximate data, but it gives you a sense. So we've been using it for 7-8 years. Okay. And maybe the current new smartphone users in the last couple of years perhaps are middle school educated, 7th standard or more. And in the next 10 years, probably even primary school and illiterate people will start using it. Of course, this is just, large bucket data. Already many illiterate people are also using smartphones, and some graduates are not using smartphones. So it doesn't go like that. But there is a good correlation. So this is what we can say is happening right now. Okay. The other thing that has started happening quite heavily around the similar time, but particularly after demonetization and then after COVID, is digital banking. It has gone up enormously, particularly in urban context. It has definitely prevailed. Barber shops and kirana shops and sabjiwala auto rickshaw drivers, Uber drivers, all people doing all sorts of children, within family exchange of money, all of that has been digitized. So a lot more digital money now sloshes around in India. And so in that sense, there is something very hard to protect, and something very important to protect inside the devices.
So, related to digital banking, so passphrases can also be used as a UPI pin. If it is.
So, yeah, I mean, as I was saying, application is another ball game altogether. Whether to unlock the device, whether to make a payment, whether to potentially, yes. In fact, see, a pin, a UPI pin is actually quite small.
It's a code.
I mean, we're just going back to this thing. So, let's go back to that password space concept. So, the alphanumeric password, the 6-digit alphanumeric password is 200 raised to 6, approximately, or 200 raised to order 200 raised to 6, that kind of password, right? 200 into 200 into 200 into 200. So, if you have a 16 by 16 grid in 6, then that is like 16 raised to 6, it's much smaller, very smaller. Okay, but a UPI pin, let's say 6-digit UPI pin is what? About 10 lakhs, right? 10, no. A million, yeah. A million.
1
You
million.
can have 1 million passwords on a UPI pin, right? So if you can get somebody's phone, you can unlock the phone and then get into their UPI app and make UPI payments. You would only try 1 million times before you can succeed to make the transaction. Of course, it will lock you out before that. So there is other method.
So they give you 3 chances, right? They always lock or delay the things.
Some mechanism will be there, and that person will hopefully realize that he has lost the phone and so on. But those are that is about the mechanisms. Right? 10 raised to 6, and many also have 4, many banks also have 4 things. Right? So that's about. So compared to that, this is much safer. Of course, UPI pin, if you are doing it frequently enough, right? You can remember the number. You can even remember a longer number. Like many people remember their own phone numbers and 2 or 3 family members' phone numbers. Although less now than earlier. But so you can remember even a 10-digit pin. But as your password space increases, then it gets harder. So, and then, I mean, and what is interesting also is that UPI is like a 6-digit pin. Okay, there is KYC done, there is JAM connectivity, and all of that is there. But it's just a 6-digit pin. So why is your mobile or your internet banking so hard? Why? What is the name? You still have the OTP there. You still have everything. So why is it so hard? So there are a lot of, I would say, I don't know what is a good word, but I would say arbitrary decisions in usable security space. Like this is an arbitrary decision, according to me. It's like there is no real reason why. If your UPI pin can be so heavy, then why is your internet banking so whatever? Okay, so it gives you more options. You can spend much more money, but even then it's not. I can understand it, but
But the device is actually considered is your personal
public
device.
device.
But once you go
No, we have an OTP on your personal device. Protected behind an OTP. See, most banks are now SBI. If I see SBI, there is a password. Actually, a username is also not known. So it starts with the username.
Yeah.
It's not a, it could have another username. Username is unlike email or whatever, which is a public domain username. Here it's a private username, private password. So password. Then there is a captcha. Then you get an OTP. Yeah, these are the 4 mechanisms that are there before you even get into this thing. And then if you're doing a transaction, then again another OTP. So there is a fair amount of protection. Compared to that, it's very little. Like just your device protection, whatever it might be, your pattern or whatever, and your pin. So there are multiple layers of, plus of course, if you, they lock you out very frequently online. They don't do that, I haven't been locked out on my phone so far, but I have been locked out frequently on my online account. And they force you to change your password so frequently. I don't think it forces you to change your PIN so frequently, UPI PIN so frequently. So why there is this much disparity? Should it be there? There is no real data to support this decision making. It's just some vaporware. So what is important also is there are so many questions in this space. So I'm just opening these boxes there are many boxes here to open and investigate really. Arbitrariness bahut hai isme.
The photos which are there, are they like uploaded by the?
So you can complete, sorry. But there were questions, so you asked the question. What good question? They were coming to some of that.
Means are they uploaded by the user, or is it us who is already like as a designer who is selecting the photo?
So now currently we have.
In this study, we have given.
Acha.
Like
We did a study. There is a paper, you can read last paper. There was a capsule study done to select these photos, sorry. Okay, so she did a popularity contest among the celebrities. So the unknown faces, it doesn't matter. So just only thing you have to take care is that you will not confuse this person with that person. Although there were two turban guys, but they are different enough still.
Three.
They are very different from. That's the only care that we took. I don't have that. Can you just go to the next one? There's something else. Some children were kind of very similar. Okay, go to the last one. Not so clear, but the last one more behind. Some of those children, I think the number 6 and number 8.
Yeah,
those two girls look very similar. So there are some such issues.
Like if we upload, then like if I have the opportunity to upload.
So that is what we are.
Another
Study we are doing right now. We are in the middle of that study.
Okay.
And hopefully next 2 months.
One more paper.
One more.
When I retire, we will work on
it. So exactly this is what I think Pushpendra also mentioned the same thing. Rather than showing those things, why don't we use your own photos? And this is what we exactly started working on last year itself. Because everybody has phone with camera and we click things. So then once we use those, it becomes more personal because the photos you clicked and it are totally different, right? So even if you see my photo, then you are suddenly, because here at least you will see Amitabh Bachchan appearing, whoever Narendra Modi or whoever the screen, those people are going to remain same, right? So you can imagine now it becomes totally different now. Your space is different and my space is different. So guessing becomes much more difficult. And that's what exactly we are doing right now. To use this personalized pass faces. We are going to ask user to upload.
Okay.
And test it out.
And is this study being done on emergent users or is it
right now we are not going to which users.
Okay.
Because we are currently testing out the questions what Pushpendra asked. The difference between, because once you have phone, you click randomly photos, right? Because you don't have that paisa put in there. If you go to a marriage, you see same type of photos and you not able to differentiate. But when you want to create a pass faces, you need a differentiation.
You're showing examples now.
It's wrapped under. I have not opened up that, but we are now trying to figure out how to differentiate between two photos so that for user also. If I show you 10 photos of Shadi and then you realize that you also select kiya, and then you also get confused.
Hint, AI is involved.
So those things we are working on it to figure out different things so that user can. Also because usability goes on toss, then it will keep a lot of errors will happen, right? But yeah, this is what we are doing. So this is the study. So the 4-day memory of pins were both significantly better than past faces. Past faces means neutral, what that unknown wala. Celebrity is what we have done. And people took significantly more time to set up celebrity passwords compared to pin because really wanted to swim, इसमें से कौन सा favorite है and all those things, right? Because you know those people, and then suddenly you need to decide only one in that 16. You have to select one. You can't. So then, and people took more time to recall also. Yeah, so there was some, as you said, there were problems like we were not done shuffling. Jignesh, you asked, right? So screen keeper. So earlier people used to go with the positions. They used to only click first wala position, tuck, 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 6 times and go inside because the faces were coming in the same position. So what we did in this study, we shuffled and then did the study, and also we did a longer recall just to see whether really they remember. So this is the next study called to shuffle or not shuffle. This is done by Ishita, and I think last year only we published. So we don't have the link. So it's currently
Should come out shortly, no more 2 weeks again, India 24 week.
Yeah, so basically the celebrities can be made more secure by randomizing its layout and include additional recall after longer time. Basically, instead of just 4-day recall, I think 10-day recall also should be. So that's why it's very long.
So what are smudge attacks?
Smudge attack means on your phone, generally when you press something, you get small, you can say some residue.
Understood.
Yeah, okay, you understood it. So this is what, because once you know idhar hi so they know कि that's the only position. So but once you start shuffling, then you click so many places, right? Then you don't know exactly what I clicked. And shoulder shuffling is
Question.
yeah.
Can you just use like number patterns and scrambling those? That would be much more secure.
Can you please say that again? You were not audible.
Like shuffling is also being used in banking apps right now with numbers. So isn't already that is much more secure than normal patterns?
Is it
More
Excellent.
secure.
Can you speak more near?
Chat में लिखो. Just write your question in chat. Can't hear.
So what I heard that he's saying that in banking also number को भी shuffle कर रहे हो, but I could not hear after
second
that.
part.
Yeah. So can you please type in chat because we could not hear it properly.
I guess when he sends, we'll again.
Okay.
You can carry on. You can continue.
Yeah. So basically, you can say that we started with celebrity past faces, which is the last year's work, and then the Ishita done with the same thing, but with the shuffling thing. Earlier it was not shuffled, it is shuffled. Again, there are some results. We did, I think 10-day recall and 4-day recall. Zuha did up to 4 days. She gone ahead and actually after 10 days also. And in that case also, you can see we started with 100. Then after 4 days, only 99 people able to recall. And after 10 days, 96. So there is just 4 people could not recall after 10 days, start from the starting position. And same thing with shuffled. 90, 100, it gone to 98. So 2 people could not recall in 4 days. And after 10 days, 6 people could not recall because of shuffling. So there is a small difference. This is how we calculated this. Yeah, so this is what we finished with addressing usability issues within existing system. Now we are jumping into the proposing alternate secure yet usable system. This is what we are now going to propose. So it should be secure by default and it should be usable also. So what Ishita again, I think she did as a P3, right? So she did her final MDes, no BDes project, where, and by the way, all the slides are of respective people have actually created. I just using it. I give them the credits there. So what she has done is, Android docs are easy. People keep very simple things. So I just know this. So there is a problem. So there are different ways. Like people have come up with something called a double pattern. So there are 2 grids. or maybe create some alternate layout or come larger grids like 4x4, 6x6, so on. So what Ishita did is she actually added a layer. So what, before you draw this particular pattern on this, you have to select two things from this particular list. From this 10 icons, you have to select one, and on this 10 faces, you have to select one. So this is the two layer on top of existing Android pattern log. And there is another thing where you have to select five, like there are five things, one, two. So there is a icons, faces, colors, emojis, and shape. You select those and then draw pattern. So basically before you go into drawing this, you have to do all these five things, tuck, select, then go inside. So this is the additional layers we introduced. You are getting what she has done. So earlier we used to dot ID 3x3, tuck. Instead of that, before that there is one more screen will come where these things will show. So there are two variants we did. One is 2 layers and 5 layers. And of course the original one is only. So there are, you can see this is the control condition. This is what we call this as control condition, and these are the two experiments we did with 2 layers and 5 layers.
And how many that icons and images have to select?
Currently we have out of 10 you have to select one from this, yeah, whatever this 10. You can see this, right?
Okay.
I think there are 4, I want to see this.
Okay, so either I mean it is a set of 20 or it is a set of 10.
10. So there are a set of 10 icons on top, and there is a set of 10 images. Right? So you have to select icon plus image. If you correctly do that and correctly draw the pattern, then it gets unlocked. So you added the security. Now we tested whether it's visible or not. So you added additional layer introduced, right? Before you go into drawing patterns. So this is the study she did. Again, she has done with emergent users, and she did a 4 day, after 4 days recall. Yeah, you can see in this case also, 2 failures happened with only pattern. 2 layer plus pattern, there are 2 people could not recall, but 5 layers plus pattern, all people able to recall. So this is, so the enhanced version of Android pattern lock with multiple single select graphical layers were at least as memorable and usable as original. We have not reduced the usability. Of course, we increase the security, but usability wise, it is not gone down. And most users were able to recall graphical layers easily, but difficult to recall the patterns. They were able to remember emojis, but patterns still they. So there is an issue with patterns. So earlier also there was issue, and the same issue is continuing here.
So the failures that happened in the first 2 cases, is it with the patterns or the icons?
So I think that happened with the patterns.
All right.
Yeah. But we can check in the paper what is exactly, because this is the. Okay, so now, so this is what we are trying to propose something new, right? We are proposing an extra layer. Okay, so this is one study. So next study is what we did with passwords only. Because this is the old study of 2016-17. So text-based passwords are common authentication method. People don't keep complicated password because they have tendency to forget, so they make it easy to remember. That way it becomes very easy for guessing, and guessing attack happens 2 times. One is guessing, like I get a chance to guess my password 3 times. You come on my screen and try 3 times, after 3 get locked, right? And there is something called offline. Offline means, as somebody earlier pointed out, the system is having some issues at the back end. Somebody get hold of that particular. So generally passwords are not kept in as a plain text. They are encrypted and kept. So suppose somebody gets that encrypted database of passwords, and on that he will or she will keep trying attacks. But he or she has a lot of time. Here I have only 3 attempts. But once I get the dump of the password from the backend, then I can, that is called an offline attack. So this is one. And then popular passwords are vulnerable for online attacks. And what is structure? I will come to the structure later. Okay, now coming back to this little bit, pay attention here. Suppose you create any length password. So generally people are asked to create lowercase, uppercase, digits and symbol. And there is a length, minimum 8 lengths. So suppose you want to create 2 8 length password using uppercase, lowercase, digit and symbol. So what will happen is basically there is one concept called structure. Structure means what? Password structure is order sequence of password combination. So when I say BATA 1 2 3, so BATA 1 2 3. So all these are lower digit. So this is called as structure. But now when I say lower digits, L can have lower में 26 possibilities, A to Z. Next L has A to Z. So many possibilities are in numbers. I have 0 to 9. So in a structure, how many passwords you can create? It's a huge, right? Because in this example, suppose number of n length password structure. So length is suppose 2, just 2 length password. And we have 4 character class. So what is the combinations? LL, lower, upper lower, symbol lower, digit lower. Then again, so like this, you can actually create. And in one particular structure, you have 10 multiplied by 26. So 260 things like A1A, 1B, 1C, like this, 2A, 2B. So like this, you can create. Like so, one is structure, one is actual password. So there's a difference. What is structure and there is a password. So what happens is people tend to use most of the people, I don't know you guys, but most of the people have something set in their head, one pattern. So they just use the same pattern, just change something at the end, like change the date or change the number. So that you figured out very complex pattern, use the same pattern for all your passwords. Now this strategy, even hacker knows. You are not the only one who knows. Other guys also knows. So when they want to crack, they will not put all the resource figuring out. They just use this particular pattern to crack. So they get less time, they can crack it. So that's the problem. So this particular, you can see that there are so many structures. People can create passwords, but they don't create because of the same reason they don't remember it. And that's why some structures are overcrowded. You can see this in this image, like some what is that? Jars are filled, some jars are totally empty. Even that space is available to all the users. Still, people don't do it because people have to remember, right? So there is one popular database called as RockView. It's already available, leaked database. I think 32 million passwords are there. It's generally it's available for research. People use that. So when we analyze this, you can see that top 20 structure. The structure is this L6, D6, L6H1, L6D2. This is called structure. So 70% passwords belong to only 20 structures. So all the 70% passwords can be fit into 20 structures. So you imagine hacker has to use only that particular 20 structure to break. So you don't have to keep figuring out other mechanisms. So such type of things people do use when they want to crack it. Now this is online guessing. This is like suppose I want to guess your password. What I will do, I will go to your ASC account or whatever account I want to guess. I put your username and I type 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 password. After that, it will get locked, right? Then I go to next guy. So I go to Jignesh and I try the same thing. So this is how I keep trying the same password across things so that somebody will get cracked, right? So this is called, I think, trailing attack. So I just use 3 things, move on to next because I don't want to lock him. Because as soon as lock, he will understand that somebody tried and move to the next. So like this, I can keep doing this and attacks, and somebody will definitely will have this type of password and I can crack it. Only thing here is I should know the username. And another thing is offline. So here you have a lot of time, you get that dump and you keep trying that. So this I already covered, so I'll just skip this. So now what was
So just before you go, I just wanted to go through that Monil's question, which is also interesting. So he says when we are discussing the shuffling, right? So he says banking apps are use shuffling, so it isn't that already more secure already? What new can this picture password offer? It's a very good question. if you're not using different pictures of the same person, if you're just shuffling, what is the benefit of a picture password over, let's say, alphanumeric password which you use? Who can guess? It's a very good question. Can you tell, is there any advantage? You understood the question? See this, if you go to many bank websites, normally we type using the QWERTY keyboard in English. One other thing that we are not said is that we don't have to have English passwords. सब जगह पे passwords सिर्फ English में ही है. But that is my other text input mechanism for a webinar from last week. Okay, but let us say English passwords. So on QWERTY keyboards, we type English passwords, and then the banks give you, or other security mechanisms give you shuffled on-screen passwords so that it is shuffled, so then you don't have to type. Okay, or sometimes you also get the pin, and the keyboard is shuffled. It's not like you normally have like 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 0. No? That structure which we have typically on our devices, on our phones, that is not the case. You have a different mechanism. Now which one is, so they shuffle. So shuffle is not a new idea, that is correct. But is there a benefit of picture passwords in shuffle? That is the question. So, is that the correct question, Monil?
Usually these shuffled keywords are offered on screen because if there is a keylogger, it's going to log whatever key press that you type.
Correct.
So in this case, maybe
Click on the mouse. Okay. So there are some shuffling. There are distinct advantages of shuffling.
Right.
Okay,
So
but there are some distinct. So there are some disadvantages. You get confused that my muscle memory is lost. Many disadvantages are there, right? But there is one particular disadvantage, or picture passwords have, and whether to say that they don't have a disadvantage, that may be a better way of saying.
Well, they're not associated with the keystroke, so
that is one thing. But like, let's say on a phone, there is no keystrokes anyway. So
yeah.
What is the benefit? Anybody? So not to stress this point too much. It's a small benefit, which is that, let's say, numbers have an inherent order. Okay, even the QWERTY keyboard, we are used to QWERTY keyboard because we are used to that order. We will be able to tell where the QWERTY keyboard characters lie. In terms of photograph, there is no inherent order. In terms of people, in terms of images, in terms of picture passwords, there is no inherence in that order. Nothing is inherent. Right? So then people don't mind it being shuffled. Whereas, I think, if I'm not wrong, Ishita had found some studies in literature which have done shuffled keyboards. But they have not done shuffled pass faces. And pictures, pass faces, don't have inherent order. So, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that is the inherent order in numbers. Q, W, E, R, P, Y, U, I, O, P, that is the inherent order in the QWERTY keyboard. Like that, there is no inherent order in picture.
In the faces thing, if they're keeping Amitabh Bachchan and Abhishek Bachchan, they do form a kind of a group thing, right?
Correct, but so that is another issue. They may form a group, but if they're always shuffling around, then why should they form a group? And if they appear, let's say, on 2 different screens, I don't know if you noticed, those images was like, first one was older men, then second one was younger men, then whatever, yeah, older women, younger women. That's what I spoke with you. Okay, so there was no inherent order. But the point is, on one particular grid, there is no inherent order. People will not have any preference if this image comes first or that image comes first. What people will do if you don't change the position, people will develop muscle memory. That is inevitable. They will develop it whether they want it or not. And B, they will then game the system by keeping a simple password, by keeping the first one and whatever. Like if you always do 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, then you are just keeping the same password every time, right? You are not changing, you are not really remembering the password. But if you're shuffling now, I don't remember what it is. So when I'm confirming the thing, it should shuffle. Like every time you set a password, it will confirm. The time of confirmation, it's all gone. So then your password setting itself fails. You don't remember the password. So you have to, of course, remember the password. Human beings are good at remembering faces. And they have favorites. And like that. So we are using these human attributes for improving memory. Okay, sorry. So that was the thing. Okay, we can go to the next.
Yeah. So what we realize is in this curve, can we use some interface to rotate the passwords? The text passwords. We are talking about text passwords. So, for example, Princess is the password in that Rockview database. It is used by 33,291 times. The structure क्या है? All lowercase, right? L L L L L. I rotate with first position, like R comes first and P goes at the last. So again, structure is same. So when we try to copy that particular thing and search in the link database, there was zero frequency. Nobody has, well, password is princess, but we just shuffled first position with last position. Then it's like rotation. So we compared this with the database, and then we realized there is only one CESSPRIN that was the only available with 4 times used. Rest all rotation having zero appearance in the Rockview database. Okay, so this was also one of the motivating factors to use rotation. Then what we did is we used princess and added one digit at the end. You can see that last we added 1, 2, 3, something like that. So the structure becomes L8D1, means 8 times lower and then digit once. And then we captured the frequency in that particular database. And there is a equivalent operation like add a digit is very common in password database. So you generally you have a favorite password, you add one and that becomes new password. Like this so we are just trying to see what is happening with the leak database. We are just trying to compare. Then what we did is monkey1 is a password, structure is L6D1. I just shift one. So O comes first and M goes at the last. The structure becomes L5D1L1. Lower 5 times, then digit, then lower one. So like this, I keep rotating. Rotation also changes the structure. You can see the structure is totally changing. So now this actually triggered us. We can use this. So now in our case, what we did, suppose your password is science $70. You rotate from the position 4th position. So password becomes ENCE$70, capital S, small s and I. So what user has to remember? Actual password, science dollar, and the 4 number, the other position. So, but the becomes very difficult, right? The password.
But can't the hacker?
So hacker will have no 10 times. Future password he has to rotate 10 times. All password he has to do 10 times, like 10 times.
So increasing his.
Yeah, increasing his time. That's the. Now here also same thing, rotate from the 9th position. So this becomes like this. So this is the one, this is called a linear interface and this is called circular interface. We just tried out why not have this, why not have a circle. So circle is also possible. So you can see the same thing. So as a user, you can see so many structures are getting created with the same password. Research #9 becomes so many different structures are coming up with the same password rotated. Yeah. So now as a user, what you have to do is you put a username, put the actual password, and put one rotation. So you don't have to remember the rotated password, you have to remember the position from which you rotated. Otherwise, user has to remember again that complicated thing, right? For a user, it's very easy. Remember the original password and the rotation position, from which position you changed. So we did some study. I will just show you the. So I will show you the. Basically, I wanted to show this. So we also have created a browser plugin. So I will show you the movie or the.
You can close screen and then discuss.
skip this. Already we have talked about it. Okay, so this is the particular. It's not visible. Why it's not visible? It's working here.
Come. Just play. Is it playing? Yes. No, there also it's buffering.
No. It started.
No, just play again.
Okay.
Yes, play.
Okay. Too slow.
Which Wi-Fi? Do this one called 5G.
IDC Con 3.
Do the other one, 5G. There's an advantage of having the second.
Share it again, right? So you cannot share with sound. But anyway, take it. So, so basically, this is a browser extension. You can install it on your own device. Okay, because you can't ask any other organization to do this for you because they will not follow your advice. So you can do it on your machine. So basically, you configure your browser extension for some websites, whichever website you want to create. Suppose here in this case, it's like a Google. So in case Google is configured, so now when you go to the screen, Google is in the list of password enabled website. So user goes to the account and types the username, and when he tries to create a password, as soon as that particular user starts typing, it starts appearing in this circular fashion, all the words typed by that, and there is an I symbol. So you can see which is the password you type. And then you decide which position, from which position you want to rotate. And that is the password actually goes to Google. So this everything happens on your side. And then, yeah, so this is the one study where we tried to use this rotation as the mechanism to change the structure and make a little bit harder password. But for you have to remember the same password with position. For you need that one extra bit of information you have to remember from which position you are rotating.
So every time I have to remember the same, let's say, at 3 o'clock, at 6 o'clock, whatever.
Something like that you have to remember. So this was the one idea. This is old work, by the way, and that gives you more security also. That's what it's. Okay, so shall we take break for 5 minutes, or online guys you want to continue, or you guys want break? So shall we take one break?
Yeah, sure. Let's do your
No, but
depends on what food they have ordered. Krishna has gone out, so she is the organizer. I mean,
oh, she ordered something.
she got to when to collect the food or coffee. So maybe we can take a 10-minute break, which is the washroom break order. And we continue at 5:10. Online people. Yeah, is it okay for people online? Some people are still on. Okay. Okay. So 10 minutes, we can take a break. Okay, we are back. Just checking if people online can hear us.
Yes.
Yes, sir, we are here.
Yep, we can.
So,
We can start.
we are still recording.
Yeah, so now you can see we have this liking to the circular faces. So we are just using another variant where we try to create alternate secure yet usable system. So this is called as PASCO. This is the work done in 2020 and this is presented in, I think, mobile HCI. So this work was presented there. So as you know, people have this tendency to keep very predictable patterns in 3 by 3 grid. And because of that patterns, it becomes vulnerable if somebody wants to guess something, those patterns. So what we thought, instead of keeping this 3 by 3 grid, we just rearrange those grids in a circular way. So it's like instead of 3 3 3, it's like a square. What we did is we arranged the 9 grids on the circle. Now with this, what happened is suddenly those constraint of you can't touch this node is gone, because you can touch any node from anywhere. Everything is now reachable. So that constraint is gone because of rearranging the same 9 grids in circular fashion. So now this has reduced the limitation of creating patterns, because now any node can be accessible by any point of time. And this also increased the theoretical space almost 3 times. So you can actually, in conventional grid, you can create 3.8 lakh patterns. But with this, you can create almost 10 lakh patterns theoretically. People, anyway, what they want to do, they will do it. But this is the possibility we have now. So what we have done is we created this particular app where we actually created locking system, like an app lock. We also have it in mobile. So similar app lock was created. We have given this particular thing to the user. They draw the pattern based on this particular, you can see example where people have drawn this. And then after some time they recall. Okay, this was the very straightforward same template we used, what we used in earlier students. And then we actually compare this, like you can see there are this type of patterns actually user drawn patterns. So there are so many various patterns user tried. And I will just, and also we did some usability study to understand whether people are, so we have a good score of 80. This is a SUS scale. So I'll just show you how this in action so that you will understand better. So what we are doing is this particular thing called as PASCO, and where we have to draw these things by connecting this particular dots. How we do it in patterns 3 by 3. So in this case, we are going to lock this calculator app. There was only one instruction that you just release your finger. That's it. There is no other instruction because there is no other rules. So you can see this is the actual app. And when you want to open the calculator app, you have to actually put this. And this is the discussion task actually, where people have to do this calculation. That's it. So this is how we actually use this particular circular idea where instead of putting in a square grid, we just use it in a circular grid.
So was there a bias towards like drawing a hole among the users?
So that was the bias because we wanted to get rid of this, that you can't connect, suppose in 3 by 3, you can't connect this dot because this dot comes in the middle.
Right.
So we want to get rid of that. So we started with hexagon. Then we just tried, and then we realized the circular is much better because we can arrange that in a circular fashion. So we also tried with hexagon right first.
Oh, no. My question is like now that you have a circular pattern, the easiest thing to remember is just like connect all the time to draw a circle. That's like the easiest thing to remember.
Correct.
So was there a bias for the users to just do that?
That at least in this case, you can see these are all the patterns drawn by the users. So what you are saying is here, second one.
Yeah.
This one user has actually tried that. But the rest of
What was the frequency of?
Yeah.
Like
only one user.
only
has.
one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
this
it's
is
a
all
very
the
small study. It's a very small study. So a study of 26, I think.
30 to last one is 30 times.
So that's it. So that's what not too many people. And if you see the positions, so people started with the first node and ended. So there is actually we have numbered this node 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here also there is another study. So that's why you can see there is a password on web patterns. So we also created a web interface and you actually draw using mouse. Then we just like nobody's going to draw on mouse, right? So that's why we actually created that study, but then we created this app where actually users will use the touch. So that the right side one is the web patterns. So you can see because they are using mouse, there is some bias. But in case of mobile, nobody has started from 3, 4, and 5. Because I think 1, 2, 3, it comes this side. 1, 2, 3. 3, 4, 5 are very easy, difficult to touch, right? So ending is easy. So you can see ending is happening. 3, 4, 5 endings are happening. The patterns are ending at 3, 4, 5, but not starting. So this is one user has 2 users. So the first, second, only 2 users actually use that entire thing. Yeah, so now we will come to this last part, which is awareness about cybersecurity risk. Because what we realize is, even though we do a lot of things, people are not aware about cybersecurity things. We started with first thing, which is called a fishy game, because in cyber attacks, phishing is the most commonly used attack. So you must have seen I don't know, in the start I have shown some images, like in mobile, you get a tiny URL and you say, congratulations, you have won this, and you click this link. Or they ask you to click here to fill some details. And people in a hurry, they click it, that opens, and sometimes that link is so real to the close site. Suppose it's having something similar to the bank. They will have a same bank thing. Most of the times people don't go and look at the URL and try to see what is the domain name. It's like more technical, what is the domain name exactly, all those things. They just see how look is same, so they just enter password, username, password, and then that's the way. So now in this game, what we wanted to do is we want to train users to identify by inspecting. So there are tools available. I'm not saying that tools are not there, but as a user, I should also be in a position to identify whether this is a phishing or not phishing. And that is what our intention was to train users in this. So you can see these are a lot of attacks are happening. There are tools and there are some training. So there are classroom training. Sometimes people go through some emails. This happens in organizations where they send you emails just to make you aware what are the attacks. Regularly they keep sending training material also, and also ask you to go through some quizzes. But all those things are quizzes is like go and out of 4 select one. Boring hone lagta hai after some time. So what we did is we actually started using games here, and here this game actually designed by Gokul was also part of IDC till 2017, and he's worked with me right now in TCS. So in this case, what we have done is we actually divided this into 3 parts. First part is inspection, how to inspect URL. Second is about the short URLs that are also called as tiny URLs. And third is to search for a brand. Suppose I ask you, what is the URL for SBI? There is SBI online and online SBI. Which one is correct? Okay, so this is a confusion, right? Online SBI, maybe SBI, SBI. So how to inspect that? So what actually this study done in a corporate, so we know each and every website visited by all the employees. We took the data and then from data we actually come up with these URLs. We try to make them similar looking URLs so that people are used to that. Like suddenly I started showing some other URLs, then you will not relate. So that's why we used our company database to figure out which URLs to use in this game, and we use those URLs in the game. So game has a very simple story that as a I think it's a Sam. So that person actually receives one SMS, and in that SMS it was written that you will won some lottery, and that is actually a phishing link. That person clicks on the link, and as soon as the person clicks on the link, he lands up in a virtual environment where there is a tiger sitting in a boat, and you are in a boat. Now you have to cross the sea. I think this is like a life of pi type of story where you need to keep feeding the tiger, otherwise he will come and eat you. Now, how to do that is you have to catch fish. So each fish, when you put hook fish, that fish will ask you a question about that particular. There is a URL displayed, and it will ask you what is domain name, all those things. And if you answer correctly, the fish will go towards the tiger. Otherwise, tiger will move one step ahead. So you have 7 chances in 7 steps. You will be eaten up by the tiger if you don't answer correctly. So we'll just see this game first, and then I will come to the results. Oh, there is no game. Oh, sorry, there is no game. I forgot. Okay. So basically, I will just explain here. So basically, you keep moving. You can see at the top there is a position of tiger is shown on the board. He is coming 3 steps ahead. Your position is here, and each fish when you catch, there is a question popped up, and based on that, you will be basically that fish will go towards the tiger, or it will just go away. And as soon as this fish goes away, tiger moves forward. So this is the level 1 where you need to identify phishing URL. In second, there is tiny URLs are shown, and you need to identify tiny URL whether it is valid or not. And in the third level, you have to like which one is the legitimate link, like online bank, online.citibank.com, onlinecitibank.com, netbankingcity.com. So you need to use your Google search. Generally in Google search that comes at the top if it's ranked or some other method. So that's the way we are training user to identify this by inspection method. So what you can see in the before the game there was a pre-test. So we try to understood how much knowledgeable user is. So we did a pre-test. Then during game we have asked question, and there is a post-test. So whatever we showing here is a comparison between pre-test and post-test to understand whether people have increased their knowledge or not. And these numbers are shown here. You can see the false negative rate come down in post-test. So what is false negative is here you can say this is from the book, The Essential Guide for Effect Size, where you when it's a phishing link and you are saying it's not phishing link, it's very dangerous, right? Because you are going to click that. So that rate also come down, and also other thing, people actually like this game and it's educational and whatever. So this game was played by almost 8,000 people across our organization, and most of the participants got 7 to 9 correct answers. So we have actually max 9 answers. So most of the people could able to answer correctly in the post test, and also the confidence level everything was very good. So this was done in enterprise. So basically, it was not for the emergent users. All the people in this were graduate and above, having very good English proficiency, plus they are used to this laptop and all those things. So this is one of the limitation that this game is played by only biased crowd, you can say, the IT people who are. So our future thing was to make it more normal people or who don't have such a high tech industry wala. And maybe we can also thought of using touch devices. Currently, this was more using the mouse and the screen, but we can go ahead and do it with the touch device, mobile device. So this was the future scope. We could not do this, but we identified this. Then the second game, we actually worked on the passwords, and this game also talk about the password practices. This game was actually presented as a full paper in Soup's conference and also published on Darknet. So there is one Darknet website where they keep those people actually attend this workshop, this particular conference, and they actually selected our paper and they talked about our paper in their Darknet blog about the passwords. So here also, now passwords are having a lot of issues and people use some heuristic like number at the end, capital letter at the start. All those heuristics are actually, those are the 60 heuristics. So what we did in this is we start with the game, we do the pre-test, then there is a gameplay. After that, there is a password creation task. Then there is a distraction task. After distraction, you come to recall, and there is a post-test, and it will end. So this is the flow of the game. This was done using Unity, I think, yeah. So I will just show you the game because then we will have. You can see Gokul is presenting this paper in Soup's conference. So I think I will just put the sound also.
Hello everyone, I am Gokul CJ on behalf of our team including Gangadhar, Sukanya, Sankalp, Vijay and Dr. Data analysis that helped us answer our research questions. And finally, or biometric authentication, etc. However, when users create weak passwords, an attacker can easily crack it. That could lead to other consequences, especially in an organization. So when it comes to helping users create better passwords, there are certain tools available like password strength meters and awareness trainings, etc. However, certain studies have suggested that the tools may rate passwords inconsistently. A recent data-driven password strength meter by Yorglaze and team have shown compelling results using password heuristics to rate passwords. When it comes to awareness training using serious games, previous studies like anti-phishing, Fishy, Gap, Cyber Siege, etc. have shown positive results. We used the password heuristics from the previous study and tried to teach this to our organization's employees using a serious game. So our research questions were to see the impact of a game-based password awareness training to teach password heuristics and to see if such a training resulted in password diversity. Password heuristics in this context refers to various techniques that when satisfied results in overall password strength. You can see on screen that a simple password heuristic like must contain 8 characters will be satisfied if the created password has at least 8 characters. The following are the heuristics that we used in our awareness game. Please refer to your paper for the details about these heuristics. Now I'll briefly explain about our game password. For our game, we followed a set of well-established game design principles and also implemented our own design choices. Now, we tried to bring the real-world analogy in our game by relating each game element to a real-world element or a practice. We tried to relate the real open interconnected world to a jungle environment within the game. The game objective was to securely store an ancient artifact, just like how digital assets need protection in real world. The player will have to learn different password heuristics. The passwords will be created in the game using various resources like LUDs, like lowercase, uppercase, digits and symbols. At the end of a level, the player will have to create a strong password. So this is the basic game flow which begins with the pretest followed by the actual gameplay where the user collects resources and artifact and learns about various password heuristics. Then comes the password entry stage where the players create a password by incorporating the learnings about the heuristics. we have a distraction task that temporarily distracts the users from the game. Then we check if they remember their created password using a password recall level. This is followed by a post survey. Now we will quickly see the preview of our game. So this is the game story. Our main character is Soma, an archaeologist who is on a quest to find two artifacts from the jungles of Password. And once he finds the artifacts, he'll have to securely store them every night for this two-day, two-night journey. And every night the artifacts will have to be secured using secure gates. That is where the password creation comes. So I'll fast forward the game.
So each animal is
So we
talking
can see
about
each animal comes and have an interaction, a small interaction with the character. And once you click on the animal text box, it will show heuristic details.
and the score is talking about how many uppercase, lowercase, digital symbols you are collecting. You can see that. So that you have to create a password, right? Using those things. That's why that characters are with you to create the password. So each animal will teach you one heuristic, and you understand and then move forward. That you should use it. Now
And the level ends here. Now comes the password creation stage.
So basically, you have to create a fence.
The resources for this password creation is you can find it in the top right corner, where these were the resources that the player collected throughout the journey, and they can use it to create a password. And once the password is created, each animal comes and checks if the particular password heuristic is followed. If that is satisfied, then the animal leaves. If not, the animal will attack the gate and enter the camp. So here we can see it's secure, as all the heuristics were satisfied, and now there is a small distraction task just to distract the player from remembering the password basically. So we are trying to test the password memorability here. So just after the distraction task comes this password recall level, where the user has to enter the same password which he used previously.
So this way actually we
okay, so that is the end of the level created by the participants. Now we have the game data analysis. We try to.
I will skip this. I think no, we can go ahead. Yeah. So in this case, there are almost 4,000 people participated. 5,000 people participated. 17,000 password created, and there are 11,000 structures created because of they understood the different ways you can do the thing. Otherwise, anyone will come and attack. So basically, each animal has one, you can say, heuristic. Like uppercase at the starting position is one animal. So if you create a password with uppercase, that animal will come inside your. So like this, you avoid all those things and create a password. So this like indirectly teaching the those people who are playing how to create a password. And then we actually actually decreasing repeated password structure in level 2, because in level 1 we already taught 4 or 5 heuristics. In level 2 plus 4 or 5, 6. By the end of level 2 you've gone for almost 8 or 10 extra heuristics. So you have password structures are much more stronger now. And yeah, so this was the game what actually helped us to create because you can see there is an embedded task inside that as a distraction task. So we never did distraction task inside the game itself. So inside the game also we did. So this was the first study what we did on the passwords after the fishy study. And both the papers actually are available in public domain. If you want to read and get more details, you can have it. And then now we'll come to the last thing because we have only half an hour remaining. So because we need some time for discussion. Is coming here, but it's not.
Welcome.
So there are limitation of that thing was, sorry, I will go back.
Look at no screen.
Yeah, so it's here.
Look at this one.
Okay, so the limitation of this study was we are not tested this in the real life because it's inside the game. There was no control condition and long-term memorability was not studied. Everything was in the game only. So in the before the game you do a pre-test, in the game you do something, and in the post-test. So this was the limitation of this. But what we realize is people actually use this structured knowledge to create their passwords. Diversity of password because of that is increased because now your passwords are much more diverse. Earlier you must have recalled that a lot of people create the password in a very small structured space, but because of this that is spread out. So what is the advantage of spreading out is people who wants to attack or try to guess, they have to now cover wider area to figure out what is your password. They can't go with this popular thing. They starting password with a capital letter or ending password with a digit. Those heuristics, this is called heuristics. So these heuristics are no longer valid because in the game we taught like animals will come and attack. So each animal has one heuristic. So people in the game they realized how to create a password which will have this things taken care. Okay, now the last part of this is on the what you just mentioned. Nobody reads terms and conditions. So nobody reads privacy policy. So this was the work we published in Interact 2021 as a short paper on the privacy policy. So what happens with privacy policy is people generally don't read that privacy policy. Sorry for there is some error there. So there is some work already happened, like people created icons, people have created nutrition labels, people try to standardize the privacy policy. Right now, if you see Facebook policies are almost 100 pages, and there are some websites that privacy policy is just 2 pages. So it's like we can't have that. We can't compare with this versus this because there are so many things are extra things. So the problem is it's a verbose. There are a lot of legal jargons in the because people don't understand what is written. And the complexity is very high, and you need some minimum education level to understand what is written in there. So our goal was to can we convert because now a lot of people use the video, right? They consume video things. So why don't we convert this into a video and see whether that particular help user to understand that. So what we did is actually we studied 16 privacy policies from different organizations, including banking, retailers, social media, and then we compared that things. And in this chart, you can see each company is on as a one row, and column has their sections. So you can see whether there is a tick mark, so that particular section is there. So in case of Netflix, collection of personal information section is there, use of collection information storage, all those things are taken care. Amazon also similar thing. So what and Google also you can see. So many things are ticked and so many things are not there in some of the cases. Like Visa don't have this particular information storage and security at that time. So this is the old study, remember. So what we did, we actually selected only 2 from this Amazon, Netflix, and that thing we actually gone through the entire text. When we converted that into smaller snippets, because the privacy policy is verbose, like some section is here and the some related information is coming at the bottom. So what we tried to come up and summarize this in the section wise things. So that's why you can see the sections are created in the privacy policy, and that thing we actually use to create videos. Okay, now for video creation, what we realize is there are so many things are very similar in different privacy policies. So we actually reused. So our intention was to reuse the assets in the video so that we can create the next privacy policy much faster. We don't have to redraw the that particular particular character. So we just change the colors or something like that. So that was also our intention to understand this. So you can see the Amazon introduction section was 15 seconds, Netflix was 12. So like this, you can see all those both these two privacy policies converted into video, or around 5 minutes 14 seconds for Amazon, and I think Netflix it was 5 minutes 46 seconds. Then we actually shown this to the users. So one participant group will look at actual text privacy policy, another will look at the video. So same thing happened for Amazon and Netflix. And then after that, we actually ask them questions. And in the question also, they have choice to refer the things or refer the video. I mean, the video people will refer the video, the text people, and we also counted that. How many times they referred back while answering. So all this data is captured, including time, correctness, and the referring back. Because they need to answer some questions, right? So you can see yeah. So average time taken to complete the survey for full text privacy was almost 30 minutes. But in case of video, it reduced to 15 minutes. So for this Amazon and Netflix, and average score of participant in the survey is also, you can see video score are much higher compared to the text one. So Amazon, you can see these are the Amazon left hand side video, people who participate in video and people who participate in text. So this count is very high. A referring back count is reduced. In case of video, referring means you want to answer, then you need to refer. So it's very less compared to the text one thing. So this is the same thing in the box plot. So when we actually come,
as in they are not referring to video, but again.
Oh, they are referring again. So we just count that. So you refer. So when there is one question whether your credit card number is shared, so you don't remember. So you can go back and look at that particular
So
section.
video people are referring.
Video. No, they are referring less.
Right.
You can see that referring. This is less number. Count is less for video. Still doing.
No, just look at your screen. Don't worry about this one.
You can see this is less for video and this is for text. Referring back counts. It's a number basically. So what we did is actually we plotted score versus time for video, Amazon versus Netflix. So you can see people are full text shifting towards left hand top corner, means in less time they're answering more, right? So this is what we did with same with Netflix also. So this was a study which actually helped us that this type of things will help people understand. But in legal, in court, video-based privacy policy will not stand. They have to go with the actual text. But at least this will give. So to read a privacy policy, suppose you take 20 minutes, you can get the same gist in less than 5 minutes, something like that. That was the idea at that time. Yeah, so now we come to the last part. So this is where this everything started. So MDes the research. So these are the this is we have floated this on the IDC website. The research topics are here. You can see this link is here, or if you want, you can scan this QR code and you can go through this. Shall I open this?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So this is the usable security for emergent user topic. You can go through this description. And if you want to participate, you need to write a research proposal where you need to answer some of these questions like how do emergent users learn to use current cybersecurity mechanism, which is the best practice in traditional cybersecurity mechanism might be difficult for emergent users. What barriers do they face? What are the effects of these difficulties and barriers in adoption? Then plus what are the opportunities can be explored to develop new cybersecurity mechanisms that are more suitable for the needs and abilities of emergent users. So please remember that if you develop something for emergent users, normal users can definitely do that. Right? It's not that we are good, but the usability will much more high and that will be appreciated by normal users also. That's what I feel. So if you develop something for emergent users, I'm sure normal users or experts can also like that. So we have a lot of opportunities where, as I said, like in Asia itself, almost 5 billion people, right, around that stay in the Asian region. And if you do this, and in India itself, we will be 1.4 billion. We are around 1.4 billion, right? So if we do something in emergent user space in cybersecurity, I'm sure that will go a long way for all of you.
So just wanted to add a few things. So just a second. Yeah, so the research questions are for you to just scroll up a little bit. Yeah, the research, just brief, brief for little more. Little more.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming, okay. This is the brief for writing a research proposal. So people have, so you have to basically see how do you think you can answer some of these research questions. But as we discussed today, so this is, we're just asking you to write this for the purpose of submitting for the admission process. And you have to find out basically how potentially you might be able to solve this problem. Like, of course, you will not have the answer on how emergent users will do something, but what kind of study you might do, or what kind of experiments you might conduct. What are potential solutions that you think could work? Why do you think they could work? Maybe some theory is there which we are not yet applying, which theory could be applied, and so on. So that is what we are really looking for in this brief for research proposal. So you just scroll a little bit more. At the end, there are a lot of references, as you might have seen. So just scroll more.
So can you use that mouse? It'll be faster.
No, this mouse is complicated. You just scroll to the reference. You look here and scroll. Just scroll to the reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a fairly lot more also. I mean, you will find some of our work also over here and other people's work. So you can refer to any of this. There will be a email ID that is available. I think there will be in the same document. If it is not, then we will add later, where you can request for these references if you need or so on. So this is for, so by March, people will have to submit these references, these project proposals for their research, basically. Sometime in February and or March, we might have another webinar explaining how to go about writing your, what will be the process and so on. So those details we will work out later. The purpose of today's webinar was just to kind of tell you what's going on here. There are so many topics. So people may need some time to prepare and understand which topic they want to do and so on. So that was the purpose of connecting together all the work that has been happening in recent times in IDC and elsewhere. You just see how you can apply some of that in your work. So if there are any questions about this, we're happy to answer. Otherwise, we can close. No question.
And you realize that there are so many threads are possible. It's like there's not one correct solution. And there are so many things.
One can do slightly different different solution than what we have discussed also. Are there any questions online? Are there any people still there? There are a few people online, so new people are joining. If there are any questions, then I'm happy to. Niharika, any questions?
About the work or about the MDes by research?
MDes by research.
Sorry?
Would you like to do MDes research?
I'm not sure. Would it offer anything particularly new that we haven't necessarily learned the
Yeah,
basics
so
and everything?
we will have yeah, so I don't know if you've been following the MDes research program. We launched it earlier, so in 2024, basically, so last year. And our first batch of students is here, and we are now, this is for the second batch. The purpose of the intent of this program is to actually have it located between our current MDes programs and our PhD programs, basically. So what happens is a lot of designers are not sure whether they want to jump into a big PhD program immediately after their
Right.
MDes. So, or even after their MDes, actually, PhD, people are not sure whether they want to go into a PhD. So this is sort of this in between thing where you do MDes by research. So it's sort of like a PhD program, but in 2 years, or intended duration is 2 years. It is very light on coursework. You don't have a lot of courses, unlike any typical MDes program in the country right now. If you see, they will typically have about 2.5 semesters worth of courses, and only about 1.5 semesters worth of project work. So roughly that is the distribution. In the MDes research program, the required coursework is equivalent to about 1 semester, although it's distributed, but the required coursework is equivalent to about 1 semester, and the expected research outcome is equivalent to 3 semesters. So that is a big difference, and so that gives students more time to do research, more time to learn about research and apply and so on. So yes, there is a difference, particularly compared to exam. There definitely is a difference. We intended both as I mean, so of course, people from BDes backgrounds and similar backgrounds can join. BDes backgrounds can join at undergraduate level. At master's level, we also expect this to be a second master's degree potentially for people who want to pursue potentially want to pursue a PhD, but not yet sure. So for them, maybe this could also be potentially a master's degree. The training is similar to a PhD. Like we do research methods courses, and we pick courses that you think might be required for you for your PhD or for your MDes research thesis. Right. So it's similar to that.
BDes is not.
BDes is a mandate for MDes research. BDes, we have the document open. So yeah, can you just see the requirement? It will be there from last year. You can see. It will be there in the same. No, it will be in the admission brochure. So at undergraduate level, it is BDes. That is because we have very little coursework, right? We don't have a lot of. So we have expected that you have done most of the design courses that you need to do. You have already done is the expectation. So that's why BDes. But also people who have done MDes, MArch, I forget which, there are a few others, which is there an admission brochure from last year? So it will be there in the last year's admission brochure. Abhi tak this year, it will come out in February or March. Yeah, so if you just scroll down to MDes the research, eligibility, search for eligibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, this is for MDes, scroll more. For MDes research, there will be one more. So scroll a little bit more, just below the line. More. This is MDes research. So zoom in academics. It is bachelor's in design or master's in either design, architecture, or finance. So those are the eligibility requirements. Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us today. If there are no questions, maybe we can close. There's still more food. Please finish all of it before we. We're not allowed to go after. Sure. Thank you very much. It was nice.
Can I leave, please?
Yeah, we can close the meeting. So thank you people online.
Some
Question.
Is there a question? BTech in industrial design, that's a good question. So that's an admission question. This is not a forum to ask admission questions. Maybe you should send it to the IDC admissions committee. They will evaluate it. BTech in design, I'm not sure how. They will have to evaluate the course contents and so on. So if you have a course content, a list of courses or something like that, you can send along with that to the admissions. Only the brochure comes up, not now. Okay. It's-
Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Krishna. For finishing this, yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vijay, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, it took a lot of time to collect data. सब लोग-
Hard work.
I was-
But it is good now that you have it.
3 days I was doing just collecting data from people.